I am Dr. Mohammed Saeed. I'm the Chief of the Trade Facilitation and Policy for Business at the International Trade Center. As you would know, the ITC has the mandate to work with the private sector and within the private sector, especially the SMEs, and it's ITC's mandate for the internationalization of the SMEs. So we work a lot with the SMEs to make them more competitive and to be part of the global and the regional value chain. SMEs has particular challenge because of their size of the finance and the size of the businesses. And unless they have not been successful in developing the linkages to be part of the value chains, whether at the domestic level or at the international level, at the global or the regional level, then they are not part of the mainstream. They remain on the periphery, driven by, of course, the small size entities, profit-oriented. Their challenges beside size is that they don't have access to information. They lack their resources and expertise for access to finance. And more importantly, they are not part of the decision makers' insight pools where they can go and share their pain points, that these are the things which are hurting us, so please attend to it. So I would say these are the main challenges.
I'm Victoria Tuomisto, Trade Facilitation Advisor at International Trade Center. So at the core of all of our technical assistance projects, we really look at things like policy reforms, trade facilitation measures from the SME perspective. And that's in particular because from our work we've seen that if we look at multinational companies, the kind of reforms in trade facilitation that support them might not be actually beneficial for SMEs. But vice versa, if you look at trade facilitation initiatives from the SME perspective and their benefit, it will invariably support and benefit the whole of the business community, including the big actors. So that's just background for our technical assistance projects of how we go into designing and thinking about them and jointly bringing together the small businesses in the process. So to highlight a few of the projects that we've been working on, so of the trade facilitation or trade information portals that ITC and UNCTAD have been establishing in the region, but more broadly now from ITC lead over 20 countries that have been where that has been established. And these portals are really about access to information for anyone, anywhere who has access to internet that can have step-by-step transparency on the procedures of how to follow formalities for exporting or importing and thereby comply better with those requirements. And not only this transparency that gives SMEs better access to information, also giving this transparency to policymakers to understand where are the biggest bottlenecks, where are the biggest cost, time inefficiencies and complexity for the SMEs, really gives us and gives through our projects the ability to analyze trade procedures from SME perspective, how to help them. And what we see very often, the first port of call for reforms that are SME friendly is digitizing procedures. This can literally mean that you are able to apply for licenses and certificates via email, but more broadly actually to have the full application and issuance process happening digitally online. Now, we are currently engaging in Sri Lanka on a project whereby we map but also simplify procedures for the benefit of SMEs and support specific procedures in digitizing, for example, the e-certificate of origin. And then in particular, ITC has recently focused its efforts on also supporting the small-scale cross-border traders. These are usually traders who move agri-products across borders. They're informal. They face a lot of challenges because they have even less access to information, less support at the border, and thereby also are more prone to face harassment and kind of problems, real problems at the border, which produce all kinds of problems, especially in crisis times when across borders communities are relying on food products. So what we have done, for example, in West Africa is to support the establishment of these border information desks, which support in particular small-scale border traders in gaining access and having specialized support for them to be able to follow the few formalities they have, but also helping to design formalities that would help these kinds of traders to access and to cross the border much more easily. So in West Africa, we've collaborated with the West African Cross-Border Traders Association, WACTAF, in supporting the establishment of 14 different trade information desks for this purpose, supporting the smallest, the most vulnerable of traders in these communities across West Africa. And more broadly, in terms of support for small-scale traders, we have also supported in COMESA, so the Central Southern African region, in helping these kinds of businesses to collectivize, to come together as an association and also represent their views better in the existing associations, but also in select joint border committees, in supporting specifically the issues and problems and challenges that these small-scale traders face when, again, crossing, exporting, importing food on a daily basis. We found what is even more beneficial is to have that one-on-one interaction then with SMEs and certainly micro enterprises as well, to actually have peer-to-peer or on-the-job coaching of SMEs in how to manage their exporting processes from within. So how do they actually fill applications, follow formalities, try and comply better, and through these different coaching programs, namely in Sri Lanka and Afghanistan, and more recently supporting over 200 businesses in Central Asia, we've been able to empower SMEs to manage their exports better and thereby be able to actually participate in foreign trade much more as per the ITC's overall mandate.